So this video is going to be pretty different from what I have made so far because we're actually going to be talking about a current event. So let me preface this with a few things. One, I'm not a legal expert. Two, I'm not a pastor. Three, I am not Finnish. Four, I am just here telling you what I know about a case. Strongly recommend that you look into this yourself, and I will leave a couple of resources in the description for you to get started. But ultimately, I recommend looking into this yourself and using your own analysis of the situation to help keep you informed. Take what I say with a grain of salt. I'm not the final authority about this, but I am making an honest effort to portray this as accurately and fairly as possible. And if you have not been on this channel before, do know that I am a conservative Christian. So if there is any bias that you perceive, do know that that is my foundational belief. But again, give what I say some merit because I am not trying to misinterpret this. I want to steel man this situation as much as humanly possible. Simple as that. So with that out of the way, let's continue to the actual topic I wanted to bring to you, because it is particularly important and extremely divisive. And it's especially important if you are a Christian, because this tackles an important issue relating to religious expression. In 2004, some Lutherans in Finland created and published a document called Male and Female He Created Them, which tackled the subject of homosexual relationships and how that related to Christianity and the Christian concept of humanity and moral sexuality. Now, this document touched on quite a few things in the 24 pages that it is made up of, and it's kind of divided into two main parts. The first part focused on same-sex couples and partnerships and same-sex marriage in relation to its impacts on society, along with the impacts of marriage on society as a whole in a more broader sense. The second part has more to do with specifically the Bible and the church, speaking about how they perceive that the church has been persecuted by the state and working on expressing why they believe what they do from a biblical standpoint, and why it is completely wrong for institutions like the State Church of Finland to approve of homosexual relationships, and touches a bit on how the state has been impacting that. And now in 2019, a social media post by Räsänen on Twitter quoted a passage from Romans in response to another Lutheran church which was supporting a pride event. Now, obviously, homosexuality is not considered okay in Lutheranism, but because the state church of Finland is Lutheran and the state churches in Europe tend to become extremely liberal, that Lutheran church body in Finland is incredibly supportive of these pride events. But that doesn't mean there aren't also conservative Lutherans in that same body, and that doesn't mean that there aren't conservative Lutherans in other bodies within Finland. Now, at first, this social media post criticizing that church body's support of a pride event landed Räsänen into some legal trouble. She was accused of hate speech for this, but eventually it was determined by the courts that this was fallen under protection. Interestingly enough, because she quoted a Bible verse in order to justify that. It was determined that this fell under protected speech. Now, that 2004 church pamphlet that I mentioned earlier was actually written by Räsänen and also landed her into a even worse legal trouble, because it was much more specific and comprehensive and extremely bold in its claims. Now, Räsänen and her editor, who was also under scrutiny, were cleared of wrongdoing by courts over and over again, but the Finnish government kept appealing the case and kept them returning to court over and over until they were eventually taken directly to the Supreme Court of Finland. And on March 26th, just a couple days ago now, they were officially declared guilty of hate speech under their Crimes Against Humanity Code and fined thousands of dollars. And this was a 3-2 vote in the Supreme Court of Finland. The Finnish government's justification for this was that they made a public document and spread it publicly, and that document, according to them, expressed opinions that were insulting to the homosexual population. There's a few things that they probably could have interpreted as insulting, but I think what was particularly of issue was their stance that homosexuality was a developmental disorder, which, keep in mind, is not inherently an insulting term. Someone can have a developmental disorder and you can identify that as objectively true without being insulting to them. The document is under the perception that this is a developmental disorder and is expressing that out of care and concern for these people. In fact, the document at the end expresses that these people are to be loved, that God loves them as he loves all sinners, but that does not immediately neglect his concern over that sin. That in order to actually express love for people, that they have to warn their friends and neighbors, and actively says, and I quote, God loves homosexuals so much that he also wants to draw them through the word of the law to Christ and to be partakers of the gospel. And actually includes also a call to action that says in congregations there needs to be more room and love for people who are hurt by homosexual emotional lives or other sexual anomalies, and that the message of grace belongs to all sinners and all broken people, that there is no one in the world whose masculinity or femininity would be perfect and intact. Basically saying that people cannot be so prideful to express hatred and closed off mindsets to these people who are afflicted with homosexuality and other sexual anomalies. That these people are to be loved and pulled into grace, even if we cannot affirm their sinful emotions and attractions. Despite all of this, because of how it expressed what it viewed as the origins of homosexuality and called homosexuality a developmental disorder, the government immediately deemed it as hateful and insulting. Now, I think that within the next couple days, I'm going to go deeper into this story and give a little bit of a more comprehensive video kind of explaining it, because I find this very interesting and I don't think I can do it justice this quickly. But I wanted to make this a very quick summary of the situation now so that people can know about this and can be pointed towards it, because I have only seen this in a personal group chat of mine and I have not actually seen it talked about elsewhere. So I want you guys to look into this, and for my fellow Christians out there, I strongly urge you to, again, look into this, be informed, know that you know what is actually happening. Don't just take my word for it. Look into it yourselves and share this story. Make sure that people are knowing that this is happening. And if you express the same concerns as a lot of other people are over this, give your prayers about this situation to God, because this state issue is impacting millions of Christian lives. And this situation can set a precedent throughout all of Europe as well, because all of Europe has these very similar, vaguely worded laws. So again, I just want to stress that this is happening. Look into it yourself. Be extremely knowledgeable about what's happening. Don't unfairly represent it. Be extremely objective about what's happening. Ultimately, the truth is what's important more than anything, and if you steel man everybody else, then they have no room to argue against you that you're being malicious. And again, if you express the same concern over this, talk about it. Make sure everybody knows about it, because it's incredibly, incredibly important. But I will probably be making a second follow-up video about this, going much more in depth about it. If I come across anything that goes against anything that I said, or I think I need to clarify something better, I will amend it there. As for now, this is what I've seen, and this is what I'm presenting to you. As for now, this is what I've seen, and this is what I want to present to you right now. If you have any thoughts over this, if you have any concerns over this, if you support this ruling, if you have any thoughts on it at all, please share them. I would love to hear what you think, and depending on what is said, I might be able to bring this up or respond to it or whatever in the second video. Again, share your thoughts on this. Let me know what you think. And aside from that, God bless you and keep you.